My name is Kerrie, and my goal is to inspire healing and meaning in all areas of life. In this podcast, we will dive deep into conversations. From heartbreak to freedom, we will explore different self-care modalities, learn to be the best expressions of ourselves, and to live with purpose. I'm here to offer my personal insights and to share my story in hopes that it will guide you on your path. This is Heal with Care, a journey of self-discovery. What happens when you're thrown into unfamiliar spaces? I remember my first day of school, I was one of the kids crying, scared as my mom left me in this unfamiliar environment. I loved the comfort of home where I felt safe and cared for, and the idea of being on my own felt very overwhelming. As I walked into the school, I looked around at all these unfamiliar faces, wondering if people would like me, if I would fit in, or even if I belonged there. What stood out for me in that experience was the initial shock of change. I was in a new environment, there were new people, and there was nothing familiar about it. But I had to give myself time. Slowly, those unfamiliar faces would become more familiar. Some even became my friends. And little by little, my comfort in my new environment started to grow. Later in life, I faced a similar situation with my first customer-facing job. As someone who was naturally shy, talking to strangers was very difficult. I recall a moment as a kid when I was too afraid to ask for a spoon at McDonald's. My mom decided one day that she was not going to ask for a spoon for me. I had to do it myself. I was terrified to ask for my own spoon, but because I really wanted it, I had to muster up the courage to ask. And when I finally asked, I was so relieved and proud of myself. Not just because I did it, but because now I got my spoon and now I can enjoy my ice cream. Fast forward to taking orders at a fast food joint. This was a whole new level of discomfort. There was so much more logistics involved. Handling the cash register, getting orders right, giving the correct change, and hoping not to mess it all up. Not to mention, I was terrified of being yelled at by a customer. With all this to say, sometimes you need to be put in situations so that you can grow. I needed this job to help me pay for my college education. The need for me to survive pushed me to show up day after day. Because without this job, I wouldn't be able to pay back my education loan. And what I now notice is that after some time, things slowly started to become more familiar. And with that familiarity came my confidence. The cash register was no longer scary, and I got to know some of the regular customers. As I moved up in the workforce, I noticed a pattern. With every new role I took on, I felt uncomfortable stepping into it. My nervous system would shake, a mix of excitement as well as fear of the unknown. Each time, a bit nervous, the self-doubt would creep in, and I would always question if I was good enough. But with time and experience, I would slowly build more and more confidence, and that confidence allowed me to master whatever it is I was doing. Now that I'm building a business from scratch, those same feelings have resurfaced. I catch myself questioning my skill set and abilities, wondering if I measure up. Looking back, I realize this has been the case with every role I've taken throughout my life. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking external validation. But what happens when no one is there to cheer you on, to give you that external validation? When you no longer get an applause or receive a high five for doing the good work you're doing? What if that feeling of being good enough has to come from within? Maybe throughout school you had teachers or parents cheering you on, encouraging you every step of the way. But when you step into the working world, that support sometimes disappears. In some work cultures, the environment can shift, and you have to rely on your own self-motivation to keep going. Being on my own with no one looking over my shoulder, there aren't many people I can consult or bounce ideas off of. I've been going through my own challenges, and this is what inspired this podcast episode. Being an entrepreneur can be a lonely road. You have to be self-motivated. There's no one telling me if I'm on the right path. In fact, some people tell me I should go back to a steady job. But deep down, I know that this journey is mine to walk. It doesn't matter if it's starting a business, wanting to become a doctor, wanting to excel in a sport, or chase a dream of yours. We will need to pull this motivation from somewhere. And if it's for ourselves, we will need to dig deep. If your why you want to do something is strong enough, it will keep pushing you forward. I've realized that for most of my life, I've been discouraged from pursuing what I truly wanted. I conform to things I should be doing, ignoring what my heart and soul is yearning for. Even if what I want is unconventional or unpopular, maybe it's exactly what's needed for me right now. In my life, there's so much unknown at the moment, so much unfamiliarity, and it can feel hard to navigate. Maybe you've felt that too. Maybe you're being influenced to go in the opposite direction of what your soul is calling you to do. Sometimes I feel like the universe challenges us to see how badly we want it. The question is, how far are you willing to go to chase your dreams? When you find yourself in unfamiliar territory, remember that growth requires discomfort. Every new situation is an opportunity to learn, build confidence, and master a new skill. What once felt impossible becomes achievable when you take consistent action. Each step brings you closer to where you want to be. Eventually, you'll start to see your potential, and once you've mastered it, you'll grow comfortable. Until the next dream calls you, starting this cycle all over again. So, if you ever feel like you're not good enough, remember, give yourself some time to get familiar with things. No one starts as an expert. You grow through showing up. You learn from trial and error. And in those moments of uncertainty, we can lead ourselves through it. As I prepare for the Psychic and Wellness Fairs in April of 2025, I have been questioning myself again. Am I ready? Am I good enough? But then I remember every step I take outside my comfort zone is another step towards becoming who I am meant to be. Growth is a journey, not a destination. And with each step, I get a little stronger, a little braver, and a little more me. So, if you're standing on the edge of something new and unfamiliar, feeling that fear, take the leap of faith. Trust yourself. Keep the faith. You are enough, right here, right now. Every journey begins with a single step. Believe in your strength, trust the process, and keep going. You might just discover a version of yourself you never knew existed. Brave, resilient, and capable of more than you could ever imagine. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you found this episode insightful. If you feel called to, please share this podcast, subscribe to it, and leave a rating and review. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can email me at healwithcare@gmail.com or follow me on Instagram at healwithcare. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next episode.